Hey everyone, welcome back. It's episode 976 of Money Girl. I'm really glad that you're here spending a little time with me. If you're new, I'm Laura Adams, an award-winning author, on-camera spokesperson, money speaker, and founder of The Money Stack. That's my Substack newsletter. You can subscribe for free and you'll automatically get my Money Success Toolkit, which includes the exact templates I use to manage my finances. Or you can become a paid member and get access to my live educational and Q&A events. You can learn more, ask your money questions, and sign up for the Money Stack at lauradadams.com. You can even leave me a voice message with your question or comment by calling 302-364-0308. I love getting your messages, and maybe even I can feature your question on Finance Friday. That's our weekly Q&A bonus edition of the show. Today, we'll be talking about a topic that is essential for achieving financial peace, and it's creating the ultimate financial safety net. This is important because your personal finances are a balancing act, kind of like walking on a tightrope. Think about what if all of a sudden you got an unexpected gust of wind, like a job loss, significant car repair, or a medical bill that throws you off balance and maybe even into debt. That's when it's crucial to have various financial cushions to stay safe. Slowly building up your safety net over time is the best way to avoid or recover from a financial setback as quickly as possible. So we're going to go through 4 critical pillars that form an unbreakable financial safety net. Number 1, and you probably are not going to be surprised by this, but number 1 is a cash emergency fund. I often talk about the importance of an emergency fund. This is the first safety net pillar, and it's also called a cash reserve. All it is extra money that you set aside, that you keep completely safe and keep it easily accessible and separate from your regular checking or retirement accounts. If you don't have this financial cushion to fall back on, and you get a large expense or maybe a sudden cut in income, it could take you years or even decades to recover from a crisis. So having enough money at your fingertips for emergencies should never be considered a luxury. Building a cash reserve should be a top priority, so you're never backed into a financial corner and you've got more peace of mind. However, be sure to only use those emergency funds for genuine emergencies. The best place to keep your emergency money is in a high-yield, FDIC-insured bank account, so it's completely safe. Now, you're not going to earn, a ton of interest with this account, but that's not the goal for this particular bucket of money. Your cash reserve should never be invested or exposed to any market risk because it could lose significant value, especially right at the time that you need it. You want to have your funds available so when you need them, they are there for you. That is the purpose of an emergency fund. The purpose is not to grow it through investments. Ideally, you should have a cash reserve equal to at least 3 to 6 months worth of your essential living expenses. However, depending on your work and family situation, you might need more, you might need less. For instance, if your job doesn't have stable income, maybe it's because you're working on commission or you're a freelancer, you might aim for enough cash to cover your essential living expenses for longer, maybe 6 to 12 months instead of just 3 to 6. Now, if you haven't started an emergency fund, I know those sound like really big numbers, but I want to encourage you just to take small steps every month. You're not going to accumulate a healthy emergency fund, in a month or two. It could take years. So set a goal to accumulate something like $100, then $500, and then maybe $1,000 as quickly as you can. You might set up a recurring transfer on payday that's from your checking account to your emergency savings account. That way you can slowly build the fund consistently. Okay, the second pillar for a strong financial safety net is to have various insurance coverage. This is so important because insurance products provide a protective shield against potential disasters and even lawsuits. Consider the benefits of the following coverages. So we'll go through, some policies that most of you should have. This certainly isn't a complete list of policies, but, this is probably the basics. Certainly, we all need health insurance. This is essential for maintaining both your physical and your financial health, even if you're young and healthy. The problem is that even a quick trip to the emergency room for an illness or a broken bone could leave you with a massive medical bill. Being uninsured and having a serious health condition could be financially devastating. So if you don't have access to a health plan through an employer, you can shop for Affordable Care Act or ACA health and dental plans at the federal marketplace, which is healthcare.gov. Now, open enrollment is from November 1 to January 15 every year, and it could be a little different depending on where you live, but you typically must enroll by December 15 to have a health plan begin on January 1st. However, you can shop healthcare.gov anytime you have a special situation like losing your insurance, getting married, starting a family, or moving. Now, while the government has not extended a federal tax credit that helps consumers offset the cost of ACA health plans, it's possible that a separate vote could achieve this before the end of the year. But if not, the cost of coverage will increase significantly. So you want to shop and compare plans to find the best policy for you and your family. Also consider disability insurance. This is an often overlooked financial safety net that replaces a portion of your income. It could be something like 60% or 70% if you're unable to work due to a covered accident, illness, or injury. So it's going to help you keep up with your bills and meet your living expenses while you recover. Remember that health insurance only pays a portion of covered medical expenses. It doesn't cover your living expenses like housing, food, or debt payments if you can't work due to a health challenge. If you don't have access to disability insurance through an employer, or maybe you do, but it's just not enough, you can get quotes for a private policy at a site like Policy Genius. Also, consider if you need life insurance. This is critical when your death would create a financial hardship for dependents you leave behind. It could be a spouse, children, or even aging parents who depend on you. They can be set up as beneficiaries and receive a payout after you die. Now, if you're single or no one depends on your income, you either need a minimal funeral expense policy or none at all. But if you have a stay-at-home spouse who cares for your children, remember you also need a policy on their life to cover future childcare costs. Life insurance is most affordable when you're young and you're in good health, so don't wait to get coverage if you need it. If you don't have access to life insurance through an employer, or again, if you do, but it's just not enough, you can get life quotes at a site like Policy Genius. There's also home or renter's insurance, which is typically required by mortgage lenders and property managers. Home insurance pays claims to repair your home after a covered event, like a fire, hail, or windstorm. It also includes some of your personal belongings and liability coverage, which protects you against lawsuits. Renter's insurance does not cover your dwelling because that's the landlord's responsibility, but it does cover your personal belongings and liability up to certain limits. When you rent, your landlord is not responsible for your possessions, so having renter's insurance as a safety net is critical. A typical renter's policy costs less than you might think, about $185 a year on average across the United States. And if you need extra liability protection that goes beyond the limits of your existing policies like auto, homeowners, or renter's insurance, you want to consider purchasing an umbrella liability insurance policy. It covers you up to a higher limit that you set after other policy limits are exhausted. The third safety net pillar is prioritizing debt reduction. It could be high interest credit cards and personal loans, which is, the most common type. However, be sure that you have a healthy emergency fund first. Having less debt can take the pressure off if your pay gets cut, you lose your job, or your business income declines. It can also be the key to living within your means if you tend to overspend. I recommend tackling your highest interest debts first so you drastically cut your interest expense. Not only will you save money, but having lower debt balances will improve your credit scores. That's important because that will allow you to get low interest loans and lower insurance premiums, saving you money. And the fourth safety net pillar is having a backup income plan. For instance, you might create additional sources of income, like a profitable side business or even a seasonal second job. Having multiple income streams helps you pay the bills, eliminate debt faster, and maintain security if one of them dries up. Consider what interest you have that others would pay for. It could be something like tutoring, gardening, designing, driving, caring for pets, or writing. Developing marketable skills could allow you to monetize them quickly if your main income stream disappears. Maintaining a strong professional network is another type of safety net that could help you find new opportunities. So stay connected to contacts you have in your industry. To sum up, if you don't have most or any of these safety nets, make a plan to start building or improving them, beginning with a healthy emergency fund. Even small steps to improve your security will give you terrific peace of mind and put you in the best position to deal with any unexpected financial hardship. That's all for now. I'll talk to you soon. Until then, here's to living a richer life. Money Girl is a quick and dirty tips podcast. We've got a great team working on the show. Steve Rickyberg is our audio engineer. Holly Hutchins is our director of podcast. Morgan Christensen is our advertising operations specialist. Rebecca Sebastian is our marketing and publicity manager. And Nathaniel Hoops is our marketing contractor.